Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I'm sharing my ideas about the body dynamics, how I think the body should be used, and I think we're not using the body quite correctly. There's a better way of using our body, and if we could learn this, we'd all become much more efficient. We'd have more energy available to us. So I think this stuff is worth sharing. And I also talk about the energy itself, the chi energy, the life force energy. And again, this is known about, we all know about chi, but it's not really understood. So this is Taoist philosophy. The Tao talk all about chi energy, and the whole universe is made up of this living force, this field of chi. And of course, this is the same as ether. So that goes together with Tesla's science, field theory. And this is, again, a totally different approach to science. Again, many people don't realize this, but Tesla was opposed to quantum mechanics and opposed to Einstein's relativity. He didn't like those two things. He had a different idea of how the universe worked, as did some of these other field theory experts of the time. You see, ether was a big thing in the old days, and everyone talked about ether. And now it's dismissed as nonsense. But ether goes together with chi. It's a very important science that is worth looking at. And on this channel, I talk about that and my ideas about that. Again, these are just my ideas. This is what I've been thinking about over many, many years. And I trained in internal martial arts, Shaolin Kung Fu, Tai Chi, yoga, all different martial arts over the years. As well as I've studied physics. I have a degree in physics and nearly did a PhD in theoretical physics. Now, bear in mind, that's a long time ago, but I still remember most of what was important out of that. But I must admit, I don't remember all the detailed mathematics that I used to understand. I don't remember that now. But I have a background in logical thinking. So what I'm sharing on this channel are my own unique thoughts, and they are quite unusual. I haven't seen anything else quite like what I'm saying out there. There's a lot of New Age people talking similar stuff. But if you listen to my lectures and look at this channel, you'll see it's a bit different. What I'm saying is still a bit different. I'm hoping to offer a new model of the universe, a simple model of the universe, and a holistic model, one that includes us, living beings. You see, the science and technology should be holistic. It should be combined with the life force. Physics and metaphysics should never have been separated. These two things should be together. And technology and this body dynamics work together because it's the same energy. You see, it's the same electricity that runs through this body. I've got electric currents running through my body. It's the same electricity that is running through the walls, the plug socket. There's no difference between that electricity and the one in my body. This is physical technology in this plug socket. This is biological technology. But the energy is still basically the same. Now, the electricity running through my body is less, and it's at particular frequency. It will have frequencies to it. And this, of course, running through the plug socket is one particular frequency of 50 hertz AC current, and it's 240 volts or whatever it is. So it's got a particular magnitude and a frequency, and it's fixed. In my body, that's all moving. I have different frequencies, different magnitudes of electricity. But it's important to understand it's the same electricity, the same energy that runs in my body that runs through technology. And if we can only understand that, everything we do will have a holistic approach to science and technology. And if you can understand that this energy it manifests, it is created. You see, it's hard to wrap your head around this. But the science of ether is really unmanifest energy. Chi is the same thing. Chi is unmanifest energy. It is metaphysical. So you can't detect chi directly. You can't detect ether directly. What you can detect is the electromagnetic force, and that is the manifested aspect of the ether or of the chi. So in my body, I've got electricity running through it. That is manifest. I can detect that. I can, measure the currents running through my body, but I've also got chi running through my body. That is unmanifest energy. Now that you can think of as my mind, my soul, my spirit controls it. The focus of my mind, you see, my mind, the thoughts, the thought power itself is unmanifest. That is not a physical thing. you can detect brain waves, so I can detect something physical happening in my brain, but you can't really see the thoughts. You can't detect the thoughts directly. Thoughts themselves are non-physical. So thinking comes from the unmanifest, and through thinking it becomes manifest. Now, this requires a little bit of thinking, and if you go through my lecture series, I've done a whole series of 12 lectures trying to explain this step by step. There's a logic to it. But if you can understand this idea that the metaphysical world and the physical world are one and the same thing, they're like two aspects of the same thing, two sides of the same coin, the yin and the yang, if you like. And then this will also apply to technology. If it applies in my body, I can create electromagnetism through chi in my body. Then we can create electromagnetism through unmanifest force, through the ether or from the ether in technology. In other words, we should be able to have free energy machines. Free energy machines. Now, I talk a lot about this, and I do truly believe it is possible. Free energy is, well, I think it's proven. There is a way of proof. There is a proof of this, and I'll leave a link below to a video by Ken Wheeler. His channel is called Theoria Apophasis. Very, very clever guy. I thoroughly recommend his channel. He talks all about Tesla's physics, mathematics, UFOs, free energy, and he's probably the foremost expert on Tesla's physics. He's read all of the work by Tesla, all of these field theory experts, so he's the top guy. Anyway, he did a recent video talking about this, and what he's saying is, he's talking about UFO propulsion, and I talked about it in my lectures, a very simple version. He goes into it in a bit more detail. But UFOs, if you've got these UFOs flying down now, to have a UFO that is flying with field propulsion, in other words, it needs such a powerful magnetic field to actually levitate it, or a powerful magnetic field to resist gravity. Such a power, to do that, it requires a massive amount of power. So we can't fathom it. And the way we generate power now with explosions, chemical reactions, you could never generate enough power. It would need to have a different type of machine, a free energy machine. So if you believe in UFOs flying, you're going to have to believe in free energy. Those things have to have a free energy generator inside them, because the quantity of energy required is so phenomenal. We couldn't produce that machine now. We couldn't generate it. And you see, this is the main difference between our technology and this ether technology. So in modern technology, what we've got is based on explosions. It's explosive technology. We release energy, and as we release that energy, we try and capture some of it to make a machine. So it's entropic. We're using energy in the process of its destruction. And in the process of its destruction, then we have the first law of thermodynamics. In other words, if I start with, this pen is the easiest way. This pen drops down. I've given it some energy at the top. If I let go, it falls down. It loses that energy. And in the process of it losing that energy, I can make a machine. If I tie a rope to here, it falls down. I could spin a wheel and create a little machine with the fact that this falls down. But in the process of moving from here to here, that energy must be conserved. So I can't get any more work out of this than is possible from this energy at the top here. This is the first law of thermodynamics. But there is another type of engineering, which is implosive, or it is based on manifesting energy out of the ether directly. So that's a different one. You see, now this pen, if it falls down, but imagine if I could take this pen from down here and pick it up. Now, how do I pick it up to give it the energy? Well, this is very interesting. See, I, as a living being, have to make a decision to lift the pen up. So this is philosophical now, you see. I, living consciousness, a being of energy, decide to lift this pen up. I have quite literally given this pen some energy. And then if I let go, that energy returns back down. So this is where our technology is. But imagine we could build a technology that works on this side of the thing, lifting the pen up. In other words, I am putting energy in from outside the system. I am outside the system of this pen. When I let go, the pen is all by itself. I come from outside the system, apply energy to the system, and then let the system run. Okay? So I am the ether. I am unmanifest force. From the unmanifest force, I apply energy to this object. And this process of ether creating energy. If we can tap into that, that is free energy. Now, I talked about this in my lecture number 12, and I talked about a generator, a very simple generator or dynamo. So if you have a coil of wire like this, and you have a magnet like this, and you poke this magnet in and out of the wire, this will create a current. Now, I said this wrong. I've got to correct myself. This is a correction. See, what I was saying in that on lecture number 12 is that if you pump this in and out, it shouldn't be any effort. So the effort of pumping this is irrelevant to the current coming out. But in fact, there is an effort to it. As you pump this magnet through the wire, you will feel a resistance of the wire. And as you pump through the resistance of the wire, then electricity comes out. So you are doing some work. You are doing physical work to pump this magnet in and out, and that supposedly converts into electricity as it comes out the wire. But actually then still, what I'm saying was still correct, I just explained it wrong. You see, the electricity coming out is not directly connected to this motion of the magnet pumping. What is happening is this motion, you're setting up a situation. You're setting up a situation between this magnet and this coil, and when you put the energy in to move it, the situation or the geometry causes the electricity to come out. In other words, the electricity is manifested out of the ether. And this is what Tesla believed he was doing, and all those field theory experts who built the AC generator, all the power we've got today, those guys that built the generators we have, they believed they were manifesting electricity out of the ether. They did not believe they were converting kinetic energy into electric energy. Now, it requires a little bit of thinking, you see, and that's why I made a mistake before. I explained it a bit too simply. Now, you've got to think about it, because how can this movement, a physical movement, how can that become an electric current? What is the changeover? How is this movement changing into electricity? It's not changing. What is happening is you've set up a situation. This movement is a situation. Okay, you have to do some work to create this movement, and that work will produce electricity, so we think, right, I've got to do the work to get it. But the process is a subtle difference. The process is geometry and movement or work. It sets up a situation that manifests the ether. Now, another way of looking at it, again, a bit more philosophical, is this magnet. You see, all of this is man-made. All of this is man-made. Man-made, we have to make a coil of wire. Man-made, we have to make a magnet. So these two things are already man-made. We've already put some energy into making a magnet and making a coil of wire. Consciousness, the unmanifest metaphysical soul spirit, has already got together and created this stuff. See, this machine could not happen if consciousness did not build it. So already consciousness, the unmanifest, has manifested a machine that will manifest electricity. Now, this is hard to explain, hard to understand, but let's take a magnet. Here's a magnet itself. Here's a magnet, and there's another little magnet. I've got a great force. I can't push these two together, or it will pull in like this. Now, this magnet is man-made. This is man-made. We don't have magnets this powerful in nature. So already, consciousness has created this, and this in itself is already a free energy machine. The magnetic force is permanently coming out of here, permanently. But we've created this. This is a machine, a solid state energy generator. There's no moving parts in here, nothing. But yet it's producing continuous energy. Now, this magnetic field might not last forever, but it will last so damn long, we might as well call this a free energy machine. And now, because I've got this force, I can play around with this magnet and create some different effects. But already I have got permanent force coming out of here. This is a man-made free energy machine. Now, if I take this man-made free energy machine and take another man-made coil of wire and pump it through like this, then I'll have another effect. A current will come out. A current will come out. But that is, again, a man-made process. Consciousness has created a structure that manifests energy, manifests electricity. So the connection between movement and electricity is indirect, it's not direct. Now, what Ken Wheeler was talking about in that video, which I'll leave the links below, he's talking about the free energy machines that is proven. And it comes from the UFO. So there's a UFO footage, he talks about it in there. If you can Google it or YouTube it, fighter jet UFO footage. So they've seen a UFO and a fighter jet, and you can see they scan through different ways of looking at it, infrared light, UV light, and you can see the corona, the magnetic field around it, and it moves as the thing flies. So we can see, you know, pretty much for real that there's a powerful magnetic field that makes it fly. And that implies it has to have a free energy machine to create this magnetic field. And the whistleblowers, people have talked about this, and again, Ken Wheeler talks about it. The guys that say they've seen this UFO technology, the machine that powers it, they call this a solid state piece of black stone. So they've got just a black object, and it's got like a sliding thing on it, so you can adjust how much energy comes out of it. It's literally a solid state object like this, but it produces continuous, massive amount of energy. Now, how is that such a thing possible? Well, it's possible in a magnet, because we can prove that. But you could do something else, you see. Already, if you take a magnet and a coil of wire, you've got another effect happening. But imagine if you could create inside that structure, in the atomic structure itself, you could create some sort of structure that combines this idea of a coil of wire and a moving magnet. In other words, you want to set up a certain type of geometry that produces this energy all by itself. Now, it's hard to imagine what that would be, and they say again it might be another element. They've got a new element, I can't remember what it is, 257 or something. There's another new element apparently that has been discovered in this UFO technology stuff. So whether it's that or not, again, Ken Wheeler talks about it in his video, so I do recommend you listen to that. But it means there has to be something, and if this is true, that's a very interesting free energy machine, just a block of stone, black stone. But it could be crystalline. You see, this is a crystal. Now, this crystal, again, is natural, but we can create these crystals. But very similar to a magnet. These are very similar things. These are crystals, these are atoms locked together in a structure that does something. And in here, these are atoms that are locked together in a structure. They're aligned together to create the force. You see, the magnetic force comes from the alignment of the atoms. So you have to put them in the right alignment to get the force to come out. Crystal is the same thing. The atoms are locked into an alignment. It has a slightly different effect, but this has another effect. So if you could create some sort of solid state matter that has got this crystalline alignment together with this magnetic alignment, and maybe you've got different areas in this, and again, you see they had a sliding plate that goes across it that adjusts how much power you get out of it. It implies that it has to be, you can reduce or increase the power based on how much it's exposed. That's very interesting as well. But it means there is some free energy technology around, and that UFO footage proves it to be the case. That has to be flying with free energy. And there are lots of people that developed free energy machines, and it's hard to tell which are the real ones and which are fake ones, because there are a lot of people faking free energy machines as well. Throughout all time, old scientists as well would fake them. But there's another guy, again, Ken Wheeler talks about on the video, a link below, that what's his name? Walter Russell supposedly built a generator, again, which would have worked, an energy generator, but he sent it to the government, and that was the end of it, lost it. So if people have developed a free energy machine, it's never going to be let out. Never going to be let out, because what happens if you let out a free energy machine? The whole world collapses. Whoever is controlling the world now becomes irrelevant. You really got to think about it. Everything changes. Transport, farming. You see, if you've got free energy, you can grow crops all year round with grow lights. You can grow them all night long. Electricity is free. All your cars can run forever. Your house can run forever. If you've got robots, they can run forever. So you really, the whole world will change. You barely even need money anymore. What would you need money for? Just update the technology. But you don't need power. You don't have to pay for the power. And if you've got 3D printing, again, you can have things made. Hardly any work needs to be done. It'd be a very different world. Just thinking about it, what would happen if genuine free energy was given out? And because that change would be so dramatic, the powers that be will never let it out. They cannot let that out. They will do anything in their power to not let that out. They can't. And of course you have to deny its existence. You can't believe it. No, you can't believe it. And the reason people can't believe it is, again, I talked about it, because of the first law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Okay? Only transformed. But that is entropic energy. That is entropic. Like I said, when you start off with some energy and it disappears to nothing, in that process of disappearing, energy must be conserved. That is the first law of thermodynamics. But in this manifestation, it does not apply. Because in manifesting energy, you're starting from nothing. You start from zero and energy appears. Energy appears. You are creating it. So this side of it, that is the side where I pick up the pen. That's the bit we can't explain. I can explain the pen falling, but now it gets complicated. How do I pick the pen up? Well, that's me. I use my arm to lift up the pen, but that means I use my mind, my consciousness. So I'll have to build a machine that lifts the pen up for me, but then I've got to build that machine. You see, consciousness has got to be included. We've taken consciousness out of the picture. Consciousness is the unmanifest. So when we create a machine that manifests energy, like this magnet is manifesting energy, the magnetic field is continually being created and destroyed. It's coming out and it's going in. It's manifesting and it's created and destroyed all at the same time continuously. But in the middle of this, the point of inertia is the point of ether. You could think of that as consciousness. Consciousness is becoming electromagnetism. Right in the middle of this. Now, it's not so much that this has got a soul, a life of its own, but it's the same life energy. It's the same life energy in this magnet that is in me, in my soul, creates my soul. My soul is unmanifest, metaphysical energy. Right here in the seat of my soul is a heart chakra. And that unmanifest energy creates the electromagnetism and the energy of my body. That is the chi, unmanifest, creates electricity, manifest. It's the same in here. The chi is at the center point, unmanifest, but from that it comes out. But it only comes out because we built this machine. This is a machine we built. This is a man-made magnet. We had to create this. So this is a free energy machine. We've already built one. It's that. Now it's quite limited because all it does, we've got to think of clever things that, it's got this force here or this force here. So now we've got to think of what we can do with that. Well, I told you that dynamo is one thing we can do with it. If you put a dynamo, you've got a current. See, at the moment, this is not a current. So I've got to turn that magnetism into a current. And we do that with a coil of wire. And you move it. But there'll be other ways of getting this into a current. You see, a crystal's got another way. There's a guy that's created piezoelectric batteries. You see, this as well is electrical. You can get an electric current out of this crystal. So this is not magnetic. It's got a different aspect to it. It's still all going to be the same force. But this is one particular way of the force appearing. This is another particular way. How do I get an electric current out of that? Well, I've got to squeeze it. If I squeeze the crystal very, very hard, it creates something called piezoelectricity, and a little current, electric current, will come out. So again, if I put mechanical work onto this crystal, it will create a current. But it's not that I'm converting mechanical pressure into electricity. this has got a situation. This is set up with a geometry, a particular geometry, that if I apply pressure to it, a current will produce. And there's a guy that's, I told you, built a piezoelectric battery. He made a particular crystal substance, and then he clamped it together under high pressure and locked it, and the current just keeps coming out. So he just set up a system. Again, it's like a solid state thing like this, but a current comes out of it. He's used a crystal and put it under continuous pressure and just locked it like that, and then the current comes out. Now again, I'm not 100% sure if that guy was the real deal or not. He could have been faking, but I think he was the real deal. I think the theory of piezoelectricity is real. We know that. And more research should be done in how to build a piezoelectric battery. And I know you've got crystal power cells. Another thing you could look up, crystal power cells. People have made that with a salt solution. You mix up your own special salt solution, put it into a little battery with a thing, copper tube. And these things last a long, long time. Easy to make, not high energy, but they can run a thing on it for days and months and months. You can run a light bulb for a long time on a crystal power cell, it's called, a crystal power cell. And I'll leave links below if I find any more, if I can find videos on that again. But my point is, there is a method of creating free energy, and through structure, through geometry and structure. Now, the details of what that is, I'm not 100% sure. See, what I talk about on this channel is quite general. I'm trying to give a whole overall picture of things. I'm not so interested in the fine-tuned details. See, I want to know how the whole thing works. How does everything work together? How does my body work? How does my soul work, my energy work? And how do I interact with the world? And how can we create technology with this knowledge? And it's simply a different way of thinking about it. And it's closer to the Taoist philosophy, and it's closer to Tesla's science, Tesla's physics, field theory, or the ether. But remember, it's very different to everything that's out there. And the main difference is the idea of ether is a pure fluid field, pure fluid. And the ether is unmanifested force, unmanifest. You can't detect it directly. You can only detect it indirectly. You can detect the effects of it. And the manifest force is electromagnetism, and that you can detect, because there you go. I can detect that force with another magnet. That's undeniable force, but I can't see it. I can't see it, and this is pure fluid. It's pure fluid. This is like water pressure. Pressure is increasing. The pressure is increasing, and the pressure reduces. And here again, now the pressure is reducing. It's trying to go down. It's trying to go in. It's a pure fluid field, and this energy is run through our body. Pure fluid field. We'll feel pressure, different pressures, different frequencies in our body as we practice and train. So this is an unusual channel, body efficiency training, and I'm always trying to work out exactly what is my message on this channel. What am I trying to share? But for now, I think I'm trying to share a new way of looking at your body, a new way of understanding the human body and how we can use it, and how we can feel and experience the energy in our body, and how this energy can also be used for technology and understanding the entire universe, understanding the nature of the universe that we live in. Do let me know any thoughts or comments in the comments below. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in one of these other videos here.